Money and power, or power and money, no matter how you look at it, both of these phenomena are closely interconnected, because money helps to come to power and is a tool for controlling people, and power, in turn, gives the opportunity to acquire money and other benefits that a person needs. In general, if you think about it, we will understand that it is much easier to acquire money, having power, than having money, to come to power with their help, which, however, is not so important, because having even one of these, you can achieve a lot in life. Although any person, of course, wants both money and power, although not everyone is ready to admit this to themselves, because this is a very strong desire. Nevertheless, some people, judging by the examples that we see in life, manage to acquire both power and money, and even manage to hold both in their hands. Why do we need money and power at all, and how can we get either one of these, or both? This is what we will talk about in this article, dear friends, which I am sure will be very useful for many of you. In general, if you are interested in money and power, you are definitely an advanced person, not embarrassed by your true desires. And really, why should a person deny himself something? He wants it, and if someone else already has it. Power should be with someone else, money should be with someone else, fame and respect should also be with someone else, and you should only be left with the cores and crumbs, like some second-rate person? Is that so? In my opinion, this is unfair, and in your opinion? But we are instilled with attitudes, from childhood, according to which we should still be happy with these cores and crumbs from the master's table, which please us, as if we are not worthy of anything more. Yes, this is the whole trick with power in our lives. They will hammer all sorts of nonsense into a person's head, like that he is nobody and nothing, that he is nothing but a stupid cattle, a slave, a work unit, which was made while drunk and is needed only to clean up the shit after the masters. And then such a person lives with such attitudes that are poisonous to his personality, bowing to the master to the ground itself and not thinking not only about power and money, but also about a more or less human attitude towards himself on the part of the venerable masters. For those people who are striving for power, it is important, first of all, to convince all other people that they are supposedly placed by God, that they are capable of solving all social problems and making the life of each person better. It is understandable, caring about the good of the people, you best of all care about your own good and yourself. Well, let's first think about why each of us needs money and power. We need to understand why we will break our asses, striving for these things. By nature, we are freedom-loving, proud, selfish, ambitious, greedy, and very aggressive creatures. Before we are even born, we already begin to make demands on this world. We need food, water, air, comfortable conditions, attention from other people, services from other people. We need a lot of things in general. The average person is quite selfish and greedy. He sincerely believes that the world owes him, while he himself does not owe anything to anyone. I am not even talking about endless desires and all these wants. A person is such a creature that no matter how much you give, it will never be enough. And so, with all this goodness, a person comes into this wonderful world, in which, firstly, resources are limited, and secondly, there are people like him who also want everything at once, a lot and more. And who would want to grovel under him, so special and unique? Who would want to serve him of their own free will, to serve him, to work for him, to indulge all his whims? Nobody wants that. But many of us have to serve someone and work for someone, because otherwise we cannot survive. So it turns out that on the one hand, we want a lot that can only be obtained by having power and or money, and on the other hand, we do not want a lot, and therefore, again, to gain a certain freedom and independence, we need both money and power. Well, or at least money, to be more or less financially independent people. What do you think? Will anyone give us money, power, freedom, independence, just like that, because we need it? No way, as they say, keep your pockets wide open. Our skin is of no interest to anyone but us, or rather, no one is interested in the well-being of our skin. In general, as you have already understood, we need power, and along with it money, so that we can live the way we want, and so that no one dares to prevent us from arranging our lives the way we need. And all this nonsense about how money is evil, politics is a dirty business, and only scoundrels come to power and all that other stuff, it is all such nonsense that does not stand up to any criticism. The assertions that being poor and honest, but with a clear conscience, is right, these are my friends, are truly from the evil one. What kind of conscience can people have who are ready to hang themselves for a penny, who give birth to children only because it is necessary, and so that they, children, will be taken care of in old age? Do you even know what kind of tyranny there is in poor families, what inhuman treatment there can be towards the weak? Do you know how some parents assert themselves on their children, how they force them to work for themselves? Don't you know? It's good if you don't know, because the cases that I know of, when the poor, with a supposedly clear conscience, do God knows what, can horrify a normal person. For example, I know one person, whom his own alcoholic mother forced to spend the night in a dog kennel with the dog when all sorts of pluffmen came to her. And she also fed him slop and beat him often. There you go, she was poor, without any power, like a saint, and she did such things that not every rich person is capable of them. For some reason, we are accustomed to believe that if a person is poor, then he is certainly a saint. Nothing of the sort. I myself grew up in poverty, and communicated with rich people, and I will tell you this, the absence of money and power certainly does not affect people in a positive way, just as their presence will not make a normal person a monster. Life is better with money and power, that's true. Those who disagree with this, that's their business, they can live in poverty, a slave life, if they want to. Normal, ambitious people will have fewer competitors in the struggle for a better life. All people can't be rich anyway, and there's not enough power for everyone, so it's not so bad if someone thinks that they don't need all this, on the contrary, it's very good. And with power, such an interesting thing happens, it puts a person either in the position of a slave, when he obeys it, or in the position of a master, when he uses it. And if you know, and if not, then I will enlighten you, people in principle cannot live on their own. They cannot lead, so to speak, a completely independent way of life. We either obey someone ourselves, or someone obeys us, but most often in our lives and in the lives of most people there is both, to a certain extent. Because absolute power, as we know, does not exist, it is always limited, and not many of us are at the very bottom of society. Some obey us, and we obey someone, but if we talk about the majority of us, then of course, it is mainly we who obey someone, a boss, the state, other people standing above us, and this submission, it kills our humanity in us, it turns us into cattle. But we want to be people, right? We want to be respected, appreciated, understood, loved. It is not necessary that they lick our ass, it is not necessary that they serve and obey us, but there must be respect and recognition of us as individuals, because we are people, we cannot be an empty space, we cannot be nobody. Here, friends, in order for us to have at least the minimum of what we need, we must have some kind of power, and of course, money, without which it is difficult to get the things we need in this world, and it is difficult to position ourselves in a proper way in this society, which measures almost everything in money. So, no matter what we invent for ourselves, as an excuse for our poverty and low rank, not striving for money and power is a crime against oneself, against one's nature. Everyone, of course, has their own attitude to life, you know, someone sniffs flowers for pleasure, someone enjoys a bottle of bootleg booze, and there are even people who sincerely believe that their destiny is to serve someone, some master, or the whole society. Well, these are like samurai, people with incredibly brainwashed brains, who don't even know about the existence of their own self. They don't care how much money they have, what power they have, and what power they obey, so they don't give a damn about articles like this. I don't know how normal you are, dear reader, but if you read this article, it means you care what your life will be like and who you will be in it. This is good, very good, first of all for you. Well, now that you understand why a person needs power, even a small one, and money, at least in a more or less sufficient amount for a normal life, we will talk about how you can get power and money. Or rather, how you can come to them, because such things will not be presented to us on a silver platter. The most important thing that we all must clearly understand is that both power and money go to strong people. In this world, in general, all the good things go to strong people, and everyone else lives by the residual principle. What is this power? You, friends, so as not to go far for examples, turn your attention to the most powerful people in this world, who have a lot of power and no problems with money. Of course, we do not know about all such people, but still, we have some examples, and we can study these people and their lives. What, in your opinion, is the power of these people? Well, it's clearly not in their ability to lift the heaviest weight, run the fastest, jump the highest, or punch people in the face the most deftly. A set of intellectual abilities is what makes a person strong. Cunning, meanness, impudence, all of this is understandable, all of this must be in a person if he wants to fight for a place in the sun, but a person needs the integrity of all his qualities. You can't be a very good or a very bad person, you need to be a complete person. This completeness is what makes us strong, it makes us adequate and truly reasonable people, not only using, but also developing our natural qualities. Therefore, when someone says that only the most notorious scoundrels and bastards come to power, I immediately conclude that this person is either a fool or a liar. Those people who are in power are those who can come to this power and hold it, thanks to their personal qualities, which do not manifest themselves in a person by themselves. They are developed in a special way, either by him or by other people, his teachers. You cannot just be born a person with a strong character, with flexible thinking, with the necessary knowledge about this world, with high discipline and a desire to learn. We develop all these qualities in ourselves in the course of our lives, if we understand why we need these qualities. And we need them. We must understand that in order to control other people, we need to be able to influence them with the help of a carrot and a stick, for which we need to be able to use these tools and generally know what they are. You don't think that you can just ask ordinary people to do something like that, in a human way, and they will do it? You don't think that it is enough to just explain to people what they can and cannot do, and they will definitely listen to you? No, not really. It is enough to look at how people drive cars, how they break the rules, how they spit on them, how they behave on the roads in general, to understand that it is not so easy to control these creatures. When you look at how some people drive a car, you get the impression that it is not a person sitting behind the wheel, but a monkey, and this is with our harsh and supposedly vile cops who find people for no reason. If it weren't for these cops, our road mortality rate would be several times higher, but even though it's through bribes, the cops train monkeys, teach them to drive, or rather, force them to drive, with their extortions, as it should be. That's how it is, friends. Some people here don't even want to follow the traffic rules, no matter how you explain to them the need to do so, not to mention more. So think about how to manage such people, having power over them. It's useless to explain anything to them, they don't understand human language. And there are not a few such people, but a lot. However, I'm sure you are a normal person, you don't break anything and live by the laws, and not, like cattle, by concepts. Thus, striving for power, you must understand that power not only gives a person great opportunities, but also imposes a certain responsibility on him, under which living only for your own sake is not that it is not good, it is simply wrong. Stupid monkeys can be suppressed, intimidated, educated, fed, brainwashed, but you also need to take care of them in order to live at their expense. Who will provide you with big money if not other people, having power over whom you will exploit? Power is not just a high position and a cozy place in the office, it is an understanding of what this power is based on and what it is needed for. Power is born where someone obeys someone, and in order for people to obey you, you need to be able to be useful to them, so that they need you, and scary, so that they fear you. Some people understand the stick, some the carrot, some both, depending on the circumstances. It will not work to be good for everyone and always, keep this in mind. As for money, it is difficult to remain without it, being in power, you must agree. What two-legged creature, having received the opportunity to profit at the expense of other two-legged creatures, would not take advantage of this very opportunity? Yes, these people humans, these are creatures who get great pleasure from humiliating their own kind, mocking their own kind, oppressing and destroying their own kind. What can we say about the exploitation of their own kind? How can we not take advantage of the opportunity and not fill our belly and pockets, at the expense of other creatures like you, over whom you have power? No, well, if we proceed from highly spiritual and highly moral ideals, then power for a person will turn out to be not only a way to profit, but also, as was said above, a great responsibility for other people, for those over whom you rule. But unfortunately, not many current managers are guided by such ideals, regardless of the share of power they have. Nevertheless, no matter what beliefs you hold, you should not forget about money when you have power. You don't have to be a barbarian and plunder and ruin everything, having settled into a cushy place. This is stupid and short-sighted, this is a weak position. It is better to develop your assets, that is, to increase and strengthen your power, through competent creative actions, then you will always have respect from other people, and good money. This, in my opinion, is a strong position. This is in the leadership style. Such a person, such a leader who does not steal and does not ruin, but builds and develops, deserves respect at least for the fact that he is ready to stand up for his own, for the fact that he has something of his own at all. And only cowardly rats know how to grab and run. So, friends, depending on the purpose for which you want to come to power and get a lot of money, the way you achieve these goals will depend. If you need power only to improve your financial situation and you just want to live well with a lot of money, buy all sorts of expensive cars, have a big house, a yacht, have fun with girls, you can, of course, achieve success, but not always. All these toys, all these material values, all of them, in principle, motivate a person well to actively strive for power and money, but up to a certain point. For example, a person is unlikely to risk his life for the sake of big money, or hold on to power with all his might when his life is in danger. Many politicians are guided only by the instinct of self-preservation, during times of turmoil and various social upheavals. After all material values are valuable only in the material world, they are needed by a person only when he is alive, and if he dies, then why do he need them, why do he need money and power? But if you are not interested in material goods, but, say, you want to restore social justice, as you understand it, you want to destroy the slave system in some country or even in the whole world, you want to establish your own order in it, your own ideology, then you will simply have cosmic energy to achieve your goal, to achieve power. It is one thing when a serf wants more bread and this forces him to timidly oppose the master, and quite another thing when a serf does not want to be a serf, when he realizes himself as a person, when he understands that he is no worse than the master, that he is the same person in reality, and that he is exploited like cattle and treated like cattle. Then such a serf can move mountains to impale his fat, impudent master on a pitchfork and take his place. In reality, there is no need to impale anyone on any pitchforks. We have already experienced all sorts of thoughtless and senseless riots more than once in our history, in different variations, and they have not led to anything good. You just need to be motivated not so much by material as by spiritual values, then you will not be serfs, but will be people. Idealism, friends, it gives an incredible amount of energy to a person, and no gingerbread will make you change your own life and life in general as much as some idea, like the desire to achieve truth, to achieve justice. To do this, however, you need to be a person of the highest order, and not a ruminant cattle with a slave mentality, which is only capable of thinking with its stomach. Not everyone can be explained what it means to fight for an idea, why it is necessary, and what is the point of it, because different people have different levels of development. That is why not everyone comes to power, that is why not everyone has money, even in more or less normal quantities. It is clear that desire alone is not enough to acquire money and power, or just money, or just some lousy power. You also need knowledge with which to achieve all this, and such knowledge is not lying around on the road, and there are no special textbooks on this topic, because this topic is too delicate. Knowledge can be different. Some knowledge leads people to bend their backs all their lives for another uncle, other knowledge makes cannon fodder out of people, defending other people's interests, and there is also such knowledge, thanks to which people gain power, money, strength, enlightenment. And this most valuable knowledge must be collected bit by bit, in this false world, unless you find such a person who will teach you everything at once. But there are not many such people, and it is not so easy to interest them, because who needs you and me rich, and even those with power, from us problems will immediately appear for those who already have all this. In addition, knowledge must be used, by itself, in a lying state, it gives nothing. Knowledge, friends, is not just some information in your head, stored in the form of scattered facts, figures, quotes, authoritative statements. Knowledge is a constructor that allows you to build something useful in your head, which you can use in your life to achieve some goals. Moreover, this constructor allows you to build not only template structures, but also completely new structures born of your imagination, using the knowledge you have in the form of a construction tool. Therefore, it is so important to collect knowledge from everywhere where it can be collected, filter it correctly, and then rely on it when solving certain problems. What is needed to obtain knowledge in this way? How to distinguish all sorts of slag from really useful things? You know, when I was looking for an answer to this question, I talked to many smart people, given their manner of communication and various achievements. The key word that I highlighted from all this communication is the word meditation. Or concentration, if you prefer. In general, meditation can completely rid a person of all thoughts in his head, provided that he knows how to meditate, but I still consider the intermediate stage of this process as the very tool that a person needs to use in order to correctly obtain knowledge. That is, I am talking about high concentration on something, on some information, on some process, some work, some thoughts. There should be order in the head, not chaos, and in order to achieve this order, it is necessary to learn to meditate and, with the help of meditation, structure all the knowledge that you, have, for their subsequent analysis and application. Here I am writing in my articles about what I personally know and what I have learned in the course of my life, what has to do with money, power, and other things, but some fool, reading these articles, can start criticizing me, accusing me of something that does not coincide with his own point of view on certain things. I know that this exists. I know that some of you categorically disagree with me on something, and instead of benefiting from my writing, he curses me for all he is worth. I know this because I once communicated on social networks and forums with people on various topics, including money, and except for shit and stench, I received nothing for my knowledge. Of course, normal people were also on these forums and social networks, and it was very pleasant to communicate with them, but there were many more fools, those same fools who do not care about the truth, they just want to argue. Therefore, only a few, well, the most reasonable people, Instead of arguing with someone, instead of accusing someone of something, just read, listen, calmly ask questions when necessary and clarify something for themselves. This is exactly how you need to gain knowledge, about power, about money, about something else. You don't need to shove your opinion, read from books or heard from other people, everywhere. You need to see how useful this or that person can be to you, how much their knowledge and experience can help you learn more. Pay attention to how many famous people who had money, power, and fame in their lives wrote very good books in which they share their knowledge, experience, thoughts, and views on certain things with readers. So, do we all read these books with bated breath, concentrate our attention on the knowledge they contain, analyze them, separate the wheat from the chaff, delve into the meaning of what is written in these books, and then go and apply the knowledge they have gained? Nothing of the sort. Most people don't give a damn about all this knowledge, they don't need all this. I meet such people very often in my life. They are not at all interested in what I can do, what I know, what I can teach them. But they want a lot. According to them, they would definitely not refuse power and money. And of course, they have their lousy opinion, which they carry around like a hen with an egg, trying to shove it everywhere they can. Don't be such idiots, friends. Read smart books, listen to smart people, watch successful people, think about the information you receive, analyze, and check it. And all that is most useful, all that is most valuable, apply it in your life to obtain money and power, and everything else that you need. Today, you and I have an amazing opportunity to achieve everything we want to achieve. If we want, we can get any knowledge from a variety of sources. We can study the experience of many successful people. We have the time and opportunity to use the knowledge we have received, that is, to apply it in practice. All that is required of us is the desire to work on ourselves and our lives. You understand, friends, desire. I am telling you that anyone can have money and power, regardless of their pedigree. There are no chosen people in our world who are destined by fate to have great power and big money. There are only people who have chosen their own destiny, and now, either have a lot, or have nothing. Use the opportunities you have, stop living by the residual principle, stop obeying all these bosses, and being afraid of everything, act. I and other people who can teach you something are at your service.